This is Chapter 1, Lesson 6, Estimate with Percents. Okay, so when I'm estimating the percent of a number, I estimate with blank. Estimating with blank will provide a reasonable solution to many real-world problems. In that blank, you're going to write percents. So estimating with percents will provide a reasonable solution to many real-world problems. Choose compatible numbers when estimating the percent of a number. Okay? So if I'm looking at example number 1, example number 1 says estimate 47% of 692. Well, like anytime we're estimating, I want to have a reasonable number that I'm comparing it to. So 47% is pretty close to 50%, or 1/2, right? So I can round 692, that's pretty close to 700, so I can round it to 700. So when I'm estimating, I'm going to think, all right, what's 1/2 of 700? Well, 1/2 of 700 is this half of the bar diagram, right? Half of that is 350. So 47% of 692 is about 350. Is it going to be exact? No, we're estimating. All right. Let's look at example number 2. Example number 2 says estimate 60% of 27. 60% is 3/5 of a number. Okay. 27, I can round to 25 since it's divisible by 5, okay? The reason I do that is I look down here at my bar diagram, right? I can break this down into 5s. So 60% of 25. So 1/5 of 25 is 5. So each one of these is broken down into 5 sections of 5, right? So if I want 3/5, 1, 2, 3, that's 15. So 3/5 of 25, 3 times is 3 times 5, which is 15. 3 sections times 5, which is 15. So 60% of 27 is about 15. All right, let's look at number 3. Polar bears can eat as much as 10% of their body weight in less than 1 hour. If an adult male polar bear weighs 715 pounds, about how much food can he eat in 1 hour? To determine how much food a polar bear can eat in 1 hour, you need to estimate 10% of 715. Well, 10% I can leave, right? 715, I can probably round close to 700. So the first method I can use is finding an equivalent ratio. 10% equals 1/10, and 715 is approximately 700. That's what the wavy lines mean, okay? So 1/10 equals blank over 700. Well, 10 times 70 gives me 700. So 1 times 70 gives me 70. So the unknown value is 70. So it's approximately 70. That's about how much food, about how many pounds of food the polar bear can eat in an hour. Okay. The other way to do it is using mental math. Whichever way works for you is fine. Okay. 10% equals 1/10, and 715 is still around 700. 1/10 of 700 is about 70. So a polar bear can eat about 70 pounds of food in 1 hour. Either way, I get the same answer. So it's completely up to you whether you want to use method 1 or method 2. All right, there are 4 try-it problems on this page, so go ahead, pause the video, try them out. When you're done, we will go over them together. Now that you've tried the try-it problems on your own, let's go over them together. The first one is 48% of 76. Okay, so I'm going to round. 48% is about 50. And 76, I could round to 75 or I could round to 80. Completely up to you. I'm going to go ahead and round to 80. So I'm going to say 48% is about 50%. And 76, I'm going to round to 80. Okay. So half of 80 equals 40. So my answer is 40, about 40. Okay. Letter B says 18% of 42. Well, I'm going to round 18 to 20%, right? So 18, about 20%, and I'm going to round 42 to about 40. So that gives me 20% of 40, so 0.2 or 1/5 times 40 is going to give me 8. For number C, or letter C, 73% of 41. 73, I'm going to round to about 75%. And 41, I'm going to round to 40. Well, this is 3/4 times 40, which gives me 30. Okay. Letter D says Kaylee decided to donate 30% of her savings. If she has $238 in her savings account, about how much will she donate? 30% I'm going to leave alone, okay? That's about 3/10 of her savings. So 30% equals 3/10, right? $238, I'm going to round to 240. Okay. So I'm going to take 3/10 times 240. 3 times 240 gives me 720. Divided by 10 gives me 72. So she's going to donate about $72. Okay. Anything between 70 and 80 is probably acceptable. All right, on page 37 is our second portion of estimating with percents. So at the top of the page, it says estimate using the rate per 100. You can also estimate with percents using a rate per 100. Per means to divide. Okay? So let's look at some examples. Example number 4 says estimate 17% of 198. 17% equals 17 out of 100. 198 is approximately 200. Since 200 is 100 plus 100, we can add 17 plus 17 to estimate 17% of 198. 34 is about 17% of 198. Okay? Example number 5 says an airline records the snack orders of passengers. Last year, 9% of all passengers ordered ginger ale to drink. There are 408 passengers on the flight to Houston. About how many passengers does the airline expect to order ginger ale on this flight? So I'm going to estimate 9% of 408. 9% is 9 out of 100. 408 is about 400. So since 400 is 100 times 4, I can multiply 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. So about 36 people will order ginger ale. So there are 3 try it problems. So go ahead, try them out, pause the video. When you are done, we will come back and look at them together. All right. Now that you've tried the try it problems on your own, let's look at them together. The first one, E, says 27% of 307. So 27% is 27 out of 100. 307, I'm going to round to 300. Well, 300 is 100 times 3, or 100 plus 100 plus 100. So I'm going to take 27 plus 27 plus 27, or 27 times 3. They'll get you the same answer. This equals 81. So 27% of 307 is about 81. For letter F, 76% of 192. 76% is 76 out of 100. 192 is approximately 200. So I'm going to take 76 plus 76, which equals 152. For letter G, last year 24% of the zoo visitors were under the age of 3. Last week, the zoo had 996 visitors. About how many of the zoo visitors were under the age of 3? So 24% is 24 out of 100. 996 is about 1,000, which is the same thing as saying 10 times 10, or 100 times 10. 10 times 100, right? So I'm going to multiply 24 times 10, which equals 240. So about 240 children under the age of 3 were visitors at the zoo. And that is the end of lesson 6.